Jen, this morning, friends and family of that person who police say became involved in that arrest and exchanged gunfire was setting up a memorial, and they said that they were saddened by what had happened. They didn't want to speak on camera, but we did get a chance to speak with Hartford Communities That Care, who was there providing some community support as well. One day after an intense morning along Enfield Street, things were somber and quiet. The family and friends of a person shot and killed while an FBI task force was executing a warrant gathered to leave candles and balloons. Police say that person exchanged gunfire with task force members. Police haven't identified the person shot. That wasn't who they were there to arrest, however. Police were looking for 33-year-old Brandon Spence. According to court documents, Spence has a lengthy criminal background dating back to 2005. Most recently, he's accused of a shooting in Hartford back on December 7th, where Hartford police say he was seen on surveillance cameras. He was taken into custody Wednesday and is charged with violating the conditions of a supervised release.
All right, ma'am. If you need us, let us know. Our information is in there.
Because of the shooting, the organization Hartford Communities That Care was out in the neighborhood Thursday morning.
We oftentimes want to get out to the community with trauma information for residents who may have witnessed violent crime or have been impacted directly by it, to make sure that they get information on where they can also get help.
Executive Director Andrew Wood says even if people were not directly impacted by the incident, it can still have an effect on the community.
Will have the same kind of effect. If they're losing sleep, if they're at loss of appetite, if they're finding themselves having crying spells, depression, anxiety.
He says it's important for people to know that there are resources available to help them.
Be there in these moments and to make sure that the community understands that we are available to them. We're an organization that's based in this neighborhood, not far from here, but we serve the entire region.
The arrest that happened was part of Project Safe Neighborhoods, which is a nationwide initiative to make communities safer, and it brings together federal, state, and local law enforcement. Now, it's important to note that while there were Hartford detectives there at the time, they did not fire their guns at all. Live in Hartford, Gabby Molina, Fox 61 News.